well, I kind of use boxes to to draw planets in memory, because to me they're just normal objects. Okay, so I create those two objects. They're pretty similar. The only thing is that the parameters populated inside are different, and that's because two different constructors are invoked. This invokes the default constructor right here, and this defaults a specific constructor with 3 parameters. And make no mistake that what happens is that when the constructor executes, basically it gets 3 local variables: the mass, the distance, the count, all this. And those are used to supply parameters to be stored, or actually data attributes to be stored inside my object. As soon as the constructor finishes, as soon as we get out of this constructor and we're back in main program, we don't have much code here, but as soon as this line of code finishes and we're back here, as soon as that happens, those local parameters are gone, right? So they're completely gone. That's the reason why they're local parameters. And I'm talking about these variables. Those 3 are gone as soon as planet constructor finishes, but what retains is mass, count of moons, and distance from the star stored inside the actual object. Okay, that's agree? Everyone agrees with that? So that's just the work of the constructor, but of course the object continues to, keep state of these variables, and everything should be in good shape. Okay, so these are a couple of examples here. Now, some people also would prefer, somehow that was not successful at all. That pause key really killed the recording session. I don't know. Perhaps, what happened was that maybe the recording session was still going on in the memory, and it was way over the size of allowable. So anyway, I'm going to hit start again, and this time what really happened was that it was not a good part of me hitting those function keys on the keyboard. Got to be careful with this. So here's another step in the direction of using constructors. You may say, well, this looks a little silly, because very similar stuff happens here. You can actually delegate this work to a specific constructor simply because the following syntax is supported. This parentheses, and then say 1.0, 1.0, comma 1, comma 1.0 again. So I could, instead of doing this, comment this out, actually delegate the work from this constructor to this constructor, essentially saying that the default constructor really is not a default constructor anymore. We want to do exactly what this specific constructor does using those particular parameters, 1, 1, and 1. Okay, so it's this syntax that is supported to delegate the call for our Earth creation from here. Delegate this call to this particular call with specific parameters 1.0, 1, and 1.0. Okay, so these are the alternatives that do exist. Some people actually will say, no, there's really not much reason to justify this, but it's sort of, the outcome is the same. The compiler will recognize that, that's the constructor that needs to be invoked, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So there's no overhead for, having one constructor calling another constructor versus having one constructor and just doing simple assignments. That's pretty much there is no overhead, and the extra calls from method to another method is removed, and you get the direct call to a specific constructor. So this is curious syntax. Let me also further. So let's sort of like maybe for practical reasons, we can add another public method. I don't know, animate, right? So animate means do something, you know, with your parameters. So animate, it's a method that I would like to add to my planet class, so it does something useful. So it's a void. It's a void method, which means it doesn't return any parameters back. And I will just say system print print line, I guess, print line, like debugging line, and we could print how about this? We also add name. How about that? We also add a private string name. String name to our planet, and what we're gonna do is that we just say Earth as the name, right? And here comes another parameter, string Earth, a string name, right? Yet again, not inventing new names. The local parameter name is exactly the same as the name of the data attribute inside the object. Name equals name. How about this? And then, of course, what happens is that this code no longer really works well with what I have, so I will have to name this one. Now again, I'm probably facing some of the delay from the just wait a little bit for this to finish. Okay, so this recording is going.